Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Table Talk. I'm your host, Jake Combs, and today we're taking a look at the two newest Battletomes for the Gloomspite Gitz and the Beasts of Chaos, as well as a throwback to the model kit for the Nighthaunt Endless Spells. Now specifically, this kit is actually going to be used in a conversion that I actually have in mind, involving one of my two Mega Gargants that I have. Specifically, this massive scythe. Now, may end up using some of the rest of it on the base in some way, but the scythe itself is going to actually be used as one of the handheld weapons. So we're going to take a look at the actual sprues themselves, because I've never actually opened one of these kits before. And so let's go ahead and dive into this. Now, it has been a few weeks since these Battletomes have come out. Now, with those, they both were delayed by several weeks locally due to some sort of shipping error, but better late than never. And so here we are, diving right in. I'm just gonna go ahead and break the seals on everything. All right. So as you can tell, first off, that we are doing things a little differently than we normally do. Normally it's front and center, less of a close-up on the model pieces themselves. All right, so we have the three bases, the longer one being for the scythe, which we are definitely not going to need for that spell. Now, this is the old style of assembly guides, where we don't have the multiple tones, but that being said, they are pretty straightforward. And looking at the assembly instructions, there's actually nothing there for the scythe, which, now looking at sprue confirms, it is a solid piece that we'll need to be doing some trimming on now. I am probably going to leave those chains on there, but getting rid of the flames that are at least on the shaft. But overall, the kit is quite simplistic. I really like the skull with the skulls. The chest with the skulls coming out of it. Overall very simple, but at the same time, it really works too. So, looking forward to getting started with that. Now, as you can see, we have not gone into either one of these Battletomes yet. All right, so starting with the Gloomspite Gitz. So, as usual, we do have a bit of lore going through. All that fluff, as it were. And then we get to where we do the actual gallery of painted models, including the Loon King himself. So that starts on page 42. We do have Kragnos, because this is a destruction army. And I love seeing the paint schemes, especially like these squigs right here. I really enjoy that paint scheme. I've never actually seen that one before. Not your traditional squig colors. Kind of makes me think of some like demented koi. Now the Ragnarok spider, has always been one of my favorite models, and we actually had the pleasure of painting one, and we picked up a second one that we're going to be doing something with at some point, but just haven't decided what yet. And they're those same ones again, but once we get past the painting section, now we go into the actual army rules. So that starts on page 62. And specifically going into the battle traits. So tilt that up a little bit. All right, so we have the Gittish Hordes, the Bad Moon's Orbit, Under the Light of the Bad Moon, Bosses of the Everdank, Beasts of the Loon Layers, and we got some enhancements, Artifacts of Power, things like that. Now, from what I've seen, there's only one new model, really. And I don't believe they announced any others. So we're going to go ahead and pass through the Path to Glory section. And then we have territories, some battle plans as well. Now, if I was going to be running a Gloomspite Gitz army, I probably would be going with the Squigalanche, just because the Squigs have so much character. Alright, so Kragnos, Skagrot, Gobblapalooza, Loon Boss, Madcap Shaman, Squig Boss, Loon Boss with Cave Squig, the Loon Court, Zarbag and his Gitz, let's see, where is it? Oh, we do have the new Snarlfang Riders. I did forget about, or not the Snarlfang Riders, the actual main goblins that are riding the wolves. Let's see if I've overlooked them, because I probably have, unless they're categorized just like those other riders are that were in the Underworld's kit. All right, so I definitely went past. Let's see if we can find it. So we have the Snarlfang's Riders themselves, which I think those are the new ones, not the ones that were part of the Underworld's Warband. Oh, here it is, the new Squig Boss with Nasha Squig. So that's the main new model, new, not really character, but new command model that you can get. And let's go ahead and tilt that up so you can see it better. So that's him right there. And his two weapons, the Squig Crook and then the Fang-filled Gob. Now the Squig Crook, kind of looks like Bo Peep's crook that she used for herding the sheep, but specifically for herding squigs. And then he's got an armored squig that he keeps beside him as well. And it kind of looks like he's almost like he's wearing a metal mask. It's a cool looking model, but for me, just definitely didn't feel like it had the right aesthetic for the Gloomspite army that I would want to run. So we didn't end up getting one. You know, if I was running one, I would probably either go with the Gobblepalooza or Skagrot himself. You know, unless I did go with Kragnos, but I probably would not run him with a Gloomspite army, just because he doesn't look like he would fit there. So I'd have to do some major conversions for that to work. But that is the new Gloomspite Gitz Battletome. Now, from what I understand, the previous version actually used the same picture. But the easy way to tell if you're looking at the new tome or not is the red banner on top. Now, Beasts of Chaos, I don't know what the previous one looked like as far as the cover goes. And we're going to go through the same thing. You know, we have a bunch of fluff. And then I went too far. All right, so on page 40, that's when we start the Armies of Anarchy gallery section. Now, I love the look of the Herdstone. Actually considering getting one to do a diorama with a few various beastmen to go around it for the diorama and do like Vermintide 2 themed. But the Vermintide 2 diorama that I'm actually planning on building is going to be a bit different. It's actually going to be more city based and focus more on the Skaven. So if I ever do decide to do maybe like a sequel or something, that's probably what I would do. But I definitely would love to get one of those Herdstones just because they look so awesome. Now, I really like that they actually, you know, showed you how to do like the hide markings and liver spots as well. Now with the banners, you know, like a lot of that is done freehand. And tips on doing horn and scales, drum skins, freehand and tattoo. The Chimera hide looks fantastic. And then on page 60, we start into the actual rules for the army. So battle traits like the Great Phrase, Beast Herd Ambush, Rituals of Ruin, command traits like the Alpha Beast Instincts, Anarchic Relics, Lore of the Twisted Wilds, Lore of the Dark Storms. And then we have the Great Phrase, or like kind of main factions. So like the All Herd, Dark Walkers, Gave Spawn, Quake Fray, and then we go into the Path of Glory. And now this also came out with only a single main new model for this army. We didn't get one either, but of the two, it definitely was the better one. It's this Beast Lord right here. I mean, that is a fantastic Beastman sculpt. Now, a lot of the Gores and Best of Gores and Ungores have relatively gone unchanged for quite a while. And so I definitely would like to see kind of a refresh to those sculpts. And see, you know, more along the lines of kind of like similar to what they've done with the Warhammer Underworlds and things like that. And kind of give them the same treatment that GW did for the Slaves of Darkness recently with the Chaos Chosen. Now the new army box that actually came with a the Shaggoths, or no, sorry, Dragon Ogres. What am I thinking? The Shaggoth is the much bigger brute. Looked fantastic. Definitely a great looking way to start with the army. Love this Chimera model. It's a lot of fun to paint. Older viewers of the show may remember when we did that years ago when it got re-released for Warcry. Then we have the Zangor themed factions, the Chaos Spawn, Chaos Gargant, Grashix Despoilers, and then our Endless Spells, and then lastly the Herdstone. Now, with the Herdstone, it's impassable. You can't move a model over this terrain unless it can fly. You cannot move a model onto this terrain or set up a model on this terrain feature even if it can fly. So basically you can't stop there, but you can go over it. Faction terrain, only Beasts of Chaos armies can include this terrain feature. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use it on your tabletop. It just means that they're the only ones that can benefit from it. After territories are determined, you can set up this faction terrain feature wholly within your territory and more than 3 inches from all objectives and other terrain features. If both players can set up faction terrain features at the same time, they must roll off and the winner choose who sets up first. And then we go into the actual points. But that's a quick look at the Battletomes now. I obviously don't play either of these factions, but we definitely wanted to get copies of the Battletomes themselves, because you never know what army your opponent's going to face, and without getting an understanding of how each army plays or what their loadouts are, can better prepare you for it when you do face those battles. So I definitely recommend picking these up when you can, so that way you can kind of get that leg up on your opponents. Likewise, if you're playing at your house and your friends coming over with their army, having the tome there means that they don't have to try to travel with theirs, and so it means easier travel back and forth. And so it's just bringing the models over for those games. So definitely something to consider. I definitely love having these, especially for the lore alone. They alone make these books worth it for me. And then the actual art and the painted model examples that they have inside and painting tips as well are always definitely appreciated. But definitely worth picking up in my opinion. And can't wait to actually start carving into the Endless Spells and making a more unique Mega Gargant. So something to look forward to. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and you have a great night.